Welcome to the Honest Health Podcast with your host, Jeffrey Burke. Honest Health brings you the brightest minds in the natural products industry, as well as athletes and entertainers. Jeff will keep you entertained and informed while educating on how to be successful on your healthy journeys. Now, here's your host, Jeffrey Burke.
Hello and welcome back to the Honest Health Podcast. My name is Jeffrey Burke and I am so glad you're here. This is my new platform bringing you the most up-to-date, groundbreaking information from some of the best minds in the natural products industry, as well as some incredible voices from outside the industry. Everybody always has a great message. They have a story to share. They have wonderful things on their mind, and I want to know what it is. So I bring it here because you never know when that intricate piece of important information is going to come your way. And it could just be here on the Honest Health Podcast. Well, let me tell you what, you're going to love this today. I know that, and you're going to share this with everybody because it's going to be one of those podcasts with one of those incredible individuals that just makes your day. Stephen Lukawski is here today. He is the host of the KISC My Health radio show that has been on the air for a good period of time. We'll talk about that as well. But I want to talk to you just a little bit. Now, his bio will be underneath. You can read the whole bio, but some things I really want to mention before we get started. Stephen will tell you, and anybody that knows him will say the same, that he prides himself on lifting up everyone he comes in contact to their full potential. His mission and approach emphasizes trust and long-term partnerships with a constant focus on quality, integrity, and using the best of the best ingredients, always striving for transparency and doing the best of the best at everything that he does. When you have this deep passion for excellence in everything in your life, it's always reflected in the end result. Help me welcome my guest, Captain Cran Man himself, Stephen Lukawski. Hey, Stephen, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you, Jeffrey.
I'm so glad to have you here.
I'm having one of those amazing days, making something out of nothing.
We love it, and I have been a fan for a long time. I've been following you for a long time, and we recently have just connected, and I'm so glad we did because, it's never too late to make, a new relationship with someone that does everything so incredibly well. I'm very happy to meet you, sir.
It's an honor, Jeffrey, to spend time with you. And I always say, you're only as good as the people you socialize with. And I'm a student of education, student of learning, and I know that together, both you and I, we've learned a lot from so many mentors out there. But most importantly, I've had a chance to become a better person for knowing you. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So, it's interesting. The natural products industry has changed a lot. And I think I have personally changed along with it. Maybe the way I think of things, the way I do things, maybe the way I feel about things. But I think one of the strongest things, and I know you'll definitely agree with this, one of the biggest moving parts of my life that actually adds to who I am and actually motivates me to continue doing new things are the people in my life. Because I find it to be so absolutely important. I center myself. Obviously, we all have our blood families, which are great, but I think our chosen families and our chosen relationships are incredibly powerful. And many of the things that I've achieved in my life has really been directly related to the people that are around me.
And it's so true. I remember when I first got into this business 30 plus years ago, I didn't know anybody. I realized, that the only way to get out there and make a difference in this world is to connect with people. And I was, I'm still open to learn new things, new ways, and new people. But I think that it's so important to build relationships with people that you admire, that share the same value system, the morals and ethics, integrity. You talked about that earlier on, transparency and that. So I think we learn as we age and mature, and I'm a better person for everyone that I've met in this industry. And yes, there's been setbacks and challenges, but that's part of life. And you have to go out there and, like, for me, be authentic, be your true self, right? And it's always, you talked about KISC My Health radio. The people that I have on that radio show, these are inspirational leaders. Each one has touched my life in a special way. I'm a better person for knowing all of them. But I've had mentors right from the beginning of my career, and where people were much older than I am, and we fast track, we sales accelerate, I don't know. It's like I'm a sponge. I like to, it's like you get bogged down in the cranberry world sometimes, but you can pick up the phone and call one of your family members in the industry, and you have a crantini with them, and next thing you know, you're having a crantastic day.
I love it. I love it. I was going to ask you, do you have a history as a child that maybe, was something? See, my grandmother was kind of a self-proclaimed herbalist. And we lived in the country in the Midwest. And I mean, it wasn't surprising for her to be having a chicken and onions, making bone broth on the stove long before bone broth was a thing. And then picking dandelions and making dandelion tea and doing all the things that she did. So she kind of sparked my interest when I was young. And then it kind of went away, and then it just came back again, and it just never left. So I think sometimes some of those things we learn as a kid, they really do kind of shape where you go moving forward. You either decide that you don't want anything to do with that, or it motivates you to want a piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I look back at my childhood, and you can always find the negative in everything. Mm-hmm. I look for the positive. I look for the fact that the good Lord blessed me with parents that gave me life. And they did the best they could at that time. We didn't have computers.
No.
We played games. We cooked meals together. A family of prays together. Stays together, right? So we were in church all the time. Those were the house rules. If you wanted to go out and it was because you needed to get out. Your parents pushed you out to make friends, right? And I didn't have a chance to have grandparents that I know of. My grandparents passed away early. When I say early, before 60. And so today I talked about to a lot of kids out there whose grandparents are still around. My mom's 90, so my nieces and nephews are so blessed to have my mom around. I didn't have that blessing, so it was all about finding kids and finding a life opportunity, to laugh together, share together. We all took something simple and we made our life with it. It's hide and go seek. Remember that game? We used to play it, and that was fun. We wait. You had to come in when the lights came on. We had road hockey. Ka. It was my Massachusetts accent. From the Cape Cod region. It's like it was fun back then.
Good.
And so we didn't look at what we didn't have. We looked at what we had. I had a hockey stick. Right, a pair of skates. Right, I had hands to throw a football. I love playing tent in the backfield. I look at the little things, and I think that's important. How you shape your future as you get into this business world of ours and succeed with any career that you have.
I agree with you 100%. I had the one grandparent that I was very lucky to spend a lot of time with. I grew up into my teenage years with her. And my other grandparents were gone. My mother is 90 as well.
God bless your mom.
I just saw her last week. Her name is Patricia.
Patricia, you did a great job, Jeffrey. I'm so proud of you.
She's amazing, and she's an avid reader. Reads a book a day. Has ever since I've known her. That she never stops reading. She's constantly reading, and the body is fighting a little bit now, but the brain is bright and ready to go. So we're so blessed, Jeffrey. Oh my goodness, so amazed. Does she cook up a good storm still? She cooks not like she used to, but she can still put it down.
Yeah.
And do it really, really well, and do it in a way, because that was the thing. My grandmother, to your point, we would go outside in the morning, but we had to be in by the time the street light went on.
Yep.
And that was it. Everything was safer then. You went and you built forts. You did bike ramps. You went down to the lake. We went fishing. We caught tadpoles. I mean, that was it. We had no money. We had nothing else. We didn't have anything elaborate. We took a bus into the city. We lived way out in the country on dirt roads. And, I wouldn't trade that part for anything. I think that added up to who I am today.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Our life has been a journey, and I still believe our best years are ahead of us. And but I think we're wired with resilience, and we have gifted with a positive attitude. We have an outlook in our life that I think energizes other people around us, and because we look for the good in everything, and I look for the best qualities out there in people that I surround myself with, so I can learn from them. And because we're all gifted, we're all talented, we all are all masterpieces, and I think at the end, it's really, if you focus on the negative, that's all you're going to see. That's my parents taught me that at an early age, right? And that the simplicity of life, if you focus on that, such as family, your faith, you focus on the things that are meaningful. It's not about looking at what your neighbors have and you don't. It's not about your possessions. It's not about materialistic things. It's about what you can do with the star gifts that you were given to you. Right? And this is like, in our industry, we're all stars. It's like when I say all stars, we are. Some just shine a little bit brighter than others.
Very true.
And so thank you to our parents. Patricia, great job with Jeffrey. Right? And Mom, Dad, my dad passed away at the age of 60. He always said, if something ever happens to me, make sure you look after your mom. And and to this day, my mom still kicks my butt.
Ugh.
Right?
I don't tangle on that side of the fence. It's funny you say that. I was talking to someone the other day. They said, do you remember when you were a kid? Because we were talking about so many of the kids today just being, disrespectful and all that. And they said, do you remember the look? And I said, the look you got from your mom when you did something wrong, when all she had to do was give you that look and you knew better to do it again? I said, yeah, I know that look.
Okay. It's so funny when you hear other people's stories about, they may not have had a good childhood for whatever reason. Everyone has a story to tell. My heart and pain, it goes out to everyone out there that has come from broken families. But, I had a strong family, all right? And if I got out of line, I got a whooping, all right? I probably had the cleanest teeth in my early years because soap was always used in my mouth. Right? My hands, oh my God, I love my hands, but they went through. All right, I saw horse pictures of you the other day, and I was thinking of the horse belt that I got. I had to stick my hands out. Right? My dad would say, "This son, this hurts me more than it does you." Whack, whack. Right? You got to be kidding. Right? I had the best handwriting in public school because I was always upstairs writing out lines.
I will not do this again.
Yeah, thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not swear. Thou shalt not steal. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So maybe all the kids would laugh. Hey, Stephen, blah, blah. He's up in his room again. So, and then they knock on my door and then they go, Mrs. Lukawski, can Stephen come out and play with us? We need someone to play hockey. Right? And make her feel guilty.
Guilt is powerful. My biggest one was I will not talk in class. That was my worst. And I actually came in contact with a 5th grade teacher about 10 years ago. And she said, I remember you. And I said, you can't remember me. That was a long time ago. And she goes, oh, I do. And I said, yeah. And I said, what do you remember? She goes, talking constantly. And I'm like, yeah, but I got good grades. She goes, yeah, but you got 5s in citizenship because you couldn't stop talking. And I said, all right, I'll take that because now I get to talk. Now I get to talk all I want, and I love it.
Yeah, it's funny, Jeffrey. Like we be in class, you're right. And I probably had ADD, real severe ADD back then. Who knows what I had back then? But I never listened to the teacher. I was always goofing around, and always being the class clown. But I had this athletic ability which saved me. All right. And I always ran faster than the big boys can catch me. All right. So, but I always got in trouble. I think just trouble followed me right from my childhood. It's like, and when I say good trouble though, it's like, it's a, it was like, you grow up and, you're gifted in certain areas. You find out, okay, you're not the smartest kid in the class. You never will be. Right. But find someone smarter than you and learn from them. That's what I learned early in my childhood.
Yeah.
Right. And, and I took that philosophy into the world of sports. And, I took that into, into university, which I was surprised, for football, I got, a scholarship, but I got special treatment to get into school. And, I never was an A student, never was a B student, always was a C and a D student. Right. Always, all the teachers used to say, and say with my parents, if he only could apply himself, all that talent, all he had to do was apply himself, he could be that much more. And and that's how I grew up. I always grew up that you making what you put into life is what you get out of it.
Well, I know personally that you have become an amazing achiever, and whether you did that on the coattails of all the things you were told as a child, or whether you just woke up one day and decided, I'm going to be the best of the best of the best of the best. So I think there's a little bit of both. I think that early on kind of maybe endorsement from our parents, or them telling us that we could be better if we applied ourselves more. I got that as well. And but I don't know when it was. I don't know when the switch flipped, but I just started utilizing my passion, and it just kind of drove me the rest of the way.
Yeah. But you know what I learned at university when I went there, how students in high school who studied so hard and got their A average, and then they went to university, and then all of a sudden they failed for the first time. They got their paper back, and it wasn't an A, it was a C, and they could not handle it.
No.
Or they couldn't handle being alone, away from the home, away from mom and dad, away from that family circle. And that they didn't know independence, that they were always had that silver spoon. And the parents didn't let go. They said, this is the best part. I always remember this. When I was 16, and I had a beard and, lots of hair, more hair than I do now. But at least I have hair. Sorry, Jeffrey. All right.
Yeah,
but
me too.
we're all blessed in different parts of our body, I guess. All right. You can get on a horse. I never could. All right.
Okay, we'll take that.
All right. So, but I remember when I was 16, I told my parents, I'm going to buy a car when I'm 16. And my dad said, son, if you buy a car at 16, you'll be looking for another place to live. I said, nah, like 16, I'm a man. I can buy it. He goes, well, if you're a man, then you can live on your own. You can find another place. All right. You're too young to get a car at 16. And I remember at 16, I was a busboy on, after hours from school. All right. I would wear the bow tie, and I would have that jacket on, and I would go into the restaurant, and I would serve others. Maybe that's where I get that servant, leadership style. All right. But I love seeing people happy with food, with prayer. They look in each other's eyes with love. That made my day. I just love seeing that. So anyway, I got the car. But, one of the waiters in the restaurant sold me his Datsun. The first car I ever owned was a Datsun. Remember the Datsun?
I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I could probably, I looked through the floorboard and I could see, the road, but still it was a car for $700.
Yep.
And so anyway, I brought it home. The next thing I know is like the 4th of July went off. All right. My dad got home, and next thing I know, my parents are arguing. He goes, I go, right? My dad had my suitcase packed. And, and my mom said, no, he's our son. We love him. We have to just find a way to work with him. All right. So, and my point I'm making is, that car gave me my independence. The car gave me my freedom to become a better person than who I was living in the house. Yes, I continued on as a busboy at a restaurant to make money. I wanted to make money back then. That was sort of the dream come true, was to make money. And then I delivered pizza as a pizza boy. Do I look like a Domino guy to you? Or it's Little Caesar? Right? Seriously, or Papa John, right?
John's.
Okay, so, but the point is, I like knocking on doors and talking to people. And then and I loved the kitchen early in my life. That was my escape, my therapy.
Yep.
So I again, my parents, they patched things up together. They became better parents probably because of me. And but I was the middle one, right? So the middle child. And for all those who are firstborn, I don't know, Jeffrey, if you're the firstborn or not. Are you? I feel for you. All right, I do. I feel for all the firstborns out there who've had 3 or 4 siblings beyond them. Right? Because all of a sudden you became the parent at a teenage years. You were looking after the kids. You never had a chance to be your own person. You always had to live under your expectations of your parents. So, but and I think that defines us. Our childhood defines who we are, right? And I was a choir boy. I was, this little tie, and I would go to church and I would sing, and the only reason why I really went to church because there was a little girl there that I really liked, and so I wanted to be in the choir so I could be with her and sing. But I had a voice too, right? So that was good. But I'm just saying again, your parents open up the doors for you, right? University, college opens the doors for you, but it's up to you and me to get through those doors. It's a ticket to life. It's what we do with it once we get through those doors.
And I agree with that 100%. It's just people don't. I think it takes some people their whole life to realize that, they were given amazing gifts and they never, ever unwrapped them. And they never really sat back and really appreciated the things that were given to you. No matter if it was the best of the best or if it was a hand-me-down or something else, they were all gifts and they all served a purpose. I was the same way. I waited on tables when I started at 16. I worked at a restaurant. It was a Greek restaurant. And I mean, all the police used to eat there back where I was from. So before you know it, I was serving alcohol and like a regular waiter. Yeah. And they were just like, yeah. And I used to go back all during college, when I needed to make money in between scholarships and stuff like that. You had to have money. So I would go back and work like 3 or 4 days and then go back to school. And, it's, but I learned a lot from that. I mean, it really just taught me. And I was good at it. I could stack those plates all the way up my arm and dish those plates out, and people loved it. They loved eating. I loved watching people. That's to your point. Our lives are very similar. I love watching people celebrate life, and I love food, and I'm a foodie, and I like serving, and I like cooking, and I like having people sitting in my kitchen with me when I'm cooking, and I just think there's a lot of joy there. And because those kind of joys are not things that people maybe understand the power of, maybe they never experienced it. Maybe they weren't blessed enough to have that when they were younger. I appreciate it.
I don't know. I just rather see the smile of somebody else, right, than myself. I'd rather ask somebody, "Are you happy? Is there anything more I can do for you?" Right, and then to say, "What's in it for me?" And and I think when you are put on this earth, I think you have to find your passion. And then you have to find the people to want to socialize with and build your life around, your values and your morals and your ethics. And that's something that our parents or the university college, years do not really showcase that type of education. I find our career paths that we choose do. And in the business world, I tell you, it's what we learn in the business world we never see at university or college. They don't teach us that. They don't, yes, our parents teach us right from wrong, that every action has a consequence, right? Right. They do. They teach us all that. So, but when it comes to a business career, and the fork is in the road, and we have to make that decision, right? And you're working, and you're working on your own as an entrepreneur versus a corporation. There's a whole different mindset shift there. I've been blessed. If I said I never worked a day in my life in my career in the natural product industry, I guess I would have to define the word definition of what the word work means. But I have never felt, I had a job, yes, but I don't feel like it was work. It was a pleasure. It was a privilege. It was a joy. It was something I was like a Lego. Remember Lego? We used to build Lego, right? And you know what? You kept building Lego because you love Lego. I think my life is like a Lego. There's a building blocks. And the greatest thing to do for me is working with startups, right? And in upcycling world, when you have worked from something that's thrown away and you're able to collect it and turn it into value added, right? Someone's trash is someone else's treasure, right? And I found early, if you can make people smile, if you can make them laugh, and you can make the money at the same time, it's a dream job, right? And that's what I've been very blessed with in the world of, people don't know this. I started in ginseng, American Canadian grown ginseng, and Jameson was my first customer. And they put me on the map, all right, with Canadian ginseng. Everybody thought it came from Korea or China, but it comes from Wisconsin and Ontario, Canada, right? It's known as Panax quinquefolius. That's the yin side of the equation. And yang is which is the cooling, the yin, and the yang is the warming, and it comes from Asia. So one's Panax and one's Panax quinquefolius, and I didn't know anything about. I started out my career in real estate back then, and I got tired of making money. It's hard to believe. I got tired of making money. All right. Because I was sacrificing my weekends, my evenings. We had no computer. Jump in the car and I'll show you a house, right? And those people only needed you for the house. They really didn't care about seeing you ever again after they bought the house or sold it. Yep. So I had no real joy other than seeing them buy that house, watching them move in, right? But it was on to the next customer, right? Where our industry here, I see the joy in our family of people we work with. The laughter, how people are authentic and they open up and they want to share and they, and they believe in you and they trust you. And, I love that. I love the mentoring that goes on. And, in September, I'm going to share with you, there's a mentor of mine. I call him like the godfather of the natural product industry. And I don't know, you remember Gerald?
Of course.
I'll be interviewing Gerald in September. And one of his students of life, Anthony Thomas, I interviewed already. And Anthony, I tell you, I just want to sit beside him for the rest of my life and learn from him. He's so knowledgeable, right? But, I look at Gerald. If you could do business with Gerald Formula back then, remember Palin?
Oh, yeah.
Crystal Stevens, that whole team over there. If you could do business with Gerald, then you were somebody. You actually arrived because his standards were so high. He's the king of probiotics, right? Back then. So I was very blessed to meet the right people at the right time, Jeffrey.
As was I. I agree with you 100%. I was so blessed. Oh my goodness.
And I met the king of granola bars back in Canada, Willie Pelzer. God bless you, Willie, up in the heavens. All right. I met Jim Miranda, the president of Swiss Herbal Remedies, big vitamin company in Canada. Vic Neufeld from Jameson. We all had a chance to go golfing together. John Holtman from Vita Health back then. These Alicia Wojcicki, who's still around, who started up Dicentra with her 2 boys. God, how many hotels did we get kicked out of with those kids? I tell you, we go to Vegas, and whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? But we had a blast. We had so much fun, and we still do. We still are having fun in this industry. That's why I love it so much. You know, I told you if you have me on this show that I'm really quiet and shy, right?
Yeah, you
told
lied.
you that right from the beginning.
This is who we are. We love to share. We like to bring these stories out, and we like to bring the best out, and I'm the same way. I am a lifter of people. That's what I like to do. I like to help people. I like to lift them up, because sometimes they're almost there, and sometimes a little bit of help, and they won't ask for it, but I'm going to be there to offer it.
Yeah. Well, one thing, Jeffrey, you and I go back to the Great Earth days, and Mel Rich, Gene Bruno, with Chris Killam, Medicine Hunter. We were almost like the Rat Pack.
Oh, goodness gracious! My
and mentor, Dr. Earl Mendel. Remember back then you were teaching.
Oh, yes. Yes.
For all those listeners, Great Earth was like a GNC product line.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the mentor that taught the stores.
I loved it. And I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I worked at a little health food store in college, but it was terrible. It was funny. You'll love this story. It was like a candy store in the front, and the back there was a counter. And on one side of the counter, they sold cigarettes. On the other side of the counter, they sold vitamins. And there was a woman there, and she was about 65. And I got the job, and I walked her in the first day, and she goes, "If you have any questions, I'll help you." And I was just like, okay. She taught me a lot. She would step out the door to have a cigarette like every 3 minutes. But I adored her, and she just reinvented and reignited all the stuff about the natural health field. So I went to California. I met Dr. Earl Mendel. All of a sudden, I'm working with him, traveling with him, lecturing with him, and I was still very young. I was 20, and all of a sudden, he gave me my first microphone, and I never gave it back. And I'm indebted to him for that, and he's coming on my show coming up in September, and I think he's 90 now. He's up there, and but he's an icon, and icons need to be celebrated. And again, we have a lot of icons, and I've been able to interview, my goodness, so many of them. And I was doing radio shows with Dr. Atkins, 35 years ago.
Oh, God bless him. Yeah.
Yeah. Patricia Bragg.
It's a terrible way to end his life, but yeah.
Yes.
Awful. But I think the good Lord brings people into your life.
Agreed.
And I'm a man of faith. And, I truly believe things just don't happen. I think you work for things, and things, the harder you work, the breaks come your way. But I also think, things happen when you don't know why. They just do. Or they're fast tracked. You're up the elevator sooner than later. And the good Lord giveth, and the good Lord taketh too. I've seen that, and I've seen that with life. And I've been touched by so many angels, but I've also seen a lot of fallen angels, leave us early. Yeah. And so what do you do with all that? Do you look out the window and, just let life go by? Or do you do what you and I do? Someone has to go out there, and be an inspiration or a motivation to help others. And we don't do this because we make money, right? This is what we do, is from our heart. Mm-hmm. We're giving souls, right? And we have a calling in a different area of life, and I think that if we can, like how teachers, God, they're beautiful people on this planet. They're overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, right? And if they could change one life, they've done a great job, right? We change people's lives every day, what we do, because we help people live longer and healthier. That's our gift. That is a privilege. That's an honor. And that gives me meaning and a spring in my step to wake up every morning. And no one's going to take that away from me, other than the good Lord having another plan for me, right? I'll always have a burning candle. It'll always be lit. I have a fire in the belly, right? And I see that you do too, Jeffrey. So we are on a mission, right? And we sometimes we have to get people notice to look in the mirror. You are the person, the man in the mirror. Your confidence begins by looking in that mirror at yourself. You can accomplish anything if you want to. Just don't be around naysayers, people who emotionally pull you back. And I just, to me, you can pick up a book and read it and try to get, motivational quotes and put your headphones on and listen to, inspirational, motivational messages, Joe Osteen, blah, 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 right? God bless all of them, all right, out there that have motivational messages. But it really, at the end, it's your life. You've got to pick up, and decide whether or not you want to unleash that potential that's inside you. Right.
I have to share a quick story with you, and it's exactly what you're talking about. I was very young in my career, and I went to do this lecture, and I didn't know there was going to be 1,000 people in the audience. Now, I've done many bigger ones since then, but I was young, and that was a lot. So we're doing this lecture, and I'm really working really hard, and it was a really, really intelligent group. And this one guy stands up at the end, and he said, "So how do you feel that not everyone in here agrees with you?" And I said, "That's fine." I said, "There's one person that does, I'm sure." And he goes, "How do you know that?" And I said, "How many people out there agree with what I was talking about today and the message I'm bringing?" And about 50, 60% of the people raised their hand, and then a bunch more came in. I looked at him and I said, "My job is done." I said, "You just need to be able to give the message. People take what they take, and they learn from it. They utilize it. They bend it around. They make it work for them. But if you open their eyes and you open their hearts and you allow them to know that there is something where they thought there was nothing, then we've done our job."
Yeah. Yeah. We have. All we have to do is show them the choices that they make.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a great movie out there called The Choice. For those who haven't seen it, right? And I really won't go too much into it, but it comes right down, to the choices we make in life. And I truly believe my faith is my rock. All right. And and that I have hope, trust, and respect, for people out there. And I truly believe that, when you look at other people and they're sad or they're having a difficult day, you don't know what's going on in their mind.
No.
So it's being thankful, grateful, and being kind. Those are three things that don't take a lot of energy, right? All you have to do is just, realize other people have it worse than us.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going on in their world, right? So if we can, just put a smile on their face at the cash counter, or compliment them, make their day, because that's, I think, how you make a difference in this world. It's just going that extra step of being an extraordinary individual, because you stop thinking about yourself and you start caring about other people. And the business world tries to twist you around. There's no question about it.
True.
Right? Integrity, all right, comes in. I always say your word is everything. You give me your word, I expect you to honor it. Right? Transparency is. So you mentioned that earlier on. I think that's so important. I look at, also the word of passion, right? And persistence and patience. You're not a number, Jeff. Right? You're not. I'm not a number. We're people first. And if you bring on a team and you want to build a team for success, you have to treat them like people first. You don't look at them, how much money can we make with this team? It's like, how can I take this team and bring out the talent so they can play beautiful music together? Because each one has an instrument. Right. This is how my analogy, right? Each one is gifted with an instrument and they play music. Each one has talent, different talents. How do you bring them together to play the music in sync, that's synchronized? All right. And if you do that as a leader, right? And put the numbers aside. Don't micromanage your people, right? You lead by allowing that you trust that they're going to do they're adults first, right? Trust that they're going to do their job, right? Give them that runway, but be there for them. My parents were always there for me. They always said that door's open. Go out there and enjoy life. Make mistakes. Remember, we're here for you. Right? Where do we go wrong out there? Where people are not accountable today as much as they should be.
Certainly. It really, really is. And, I sometimes I find myself walking around shaking my head. Like I find myself shaking my head more than none, because, and I think I'm shaking my head not only because I'm frustrated, but because in many instances, when you take a good look at it, there are probably things that I could not help or fix. It's probably too deep for that. But if someone comes to me, or if I could see that there's a door open that I may be able to help a little bit, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I may get a no. I mean, I've had doors slammed in my face over the years from just trying to be a good person and help. And usually they come back to me a year or 2 years later and say, I understand what you were doing now. I didn't understand it then.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can't change other people. They have to change themselves, but we could be there. I think some of the most important things I've learned from my mentors over the years is be transparent. Of course, that's said in many different ways, but now it's called transparent. Be loyal, be honest. And the one that I learned way, way, way back from Dr. Atkins, he always told me, be curious. And I've always been curious. And I think that
Are you saying serious or curious?
Curious.
Serious.
No, curious.
Curious, yes, curious.
Yeah,
okay.
Never let your curiosity disappear, because your curiosity will drive you to open doors that otherwise you might walk by.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What's life without living?
Yep.
Right. Like, yes, you want to hit the complacent button, all right, and just you live your life that way. Yeah, that's up to you. All right. It's your decision. But I thought I was put on this earth to make a difference. Right. I thought I was put on in this world to help others in need. Right. I thought I was put in this world to be able to go out there and become a better person by surrounding myself with people that could make me realize I have so much to learn in life and that I could never stop learning. Right? And that's what I love about our industry. I listen to, you and I listen to stories in our interviews and what they've accomplished. I look at, oh my God, what have I done? Right? And I see what they've done, or seen the sacrifices that they've made. I had one interview that I did, and she had 15 siblings. She was the oldest of 15. And she came from the Philippines. She didn't speak any English. Matter of fact, she had 3 jobs in the Philippines, professor. Over there, and then she came over here to marry American man, which didn't work out. Right? But I always say, that door led to another door that opened, and that door of opportunity allowed her to blossom. We don't understand it at the time, but I truly believe doors open and close in our life, and it's how we look at it. And I believe that our industry is a door that's wide open, no matter where we go, what we do. Our industry is our family. And we can pick up that phone and, through our radio show, we can call anybody we've interviewed and they'll be there for us.
Agreed.
That's what we call, leadership. We call family, teamwork, because we all want to see each other succeed, both personally and professionally. I look at it that way, and it's if somebody asks me, what are the star leadership qualities you look for, and when we go to interview people, I only know the people from the trade floor. I only see them at these trade shows. I don't only see what I read on LinkedIn. I see and hear on the relationships I've developed after hours through the meetings and connections of different social events, but I don't know of them. And I don't know of them because there's not enough time. I would love trade shows like Supply Side West is 2 days. Why? Should be 3. That's a huge show.
Yep.
Right? So we jump into a plane, into a hotel room, luggage out, and then back on a plane again 2 days later. So this show allows us to be able to interview people to understand who they are, what they've done, what they've accomplished. Because when they're gone, and nobody knows what they did. Right? And I think this is so important, for us to continue our path. And I'm so thankful to companies like Freedor, right? And that have given me a lifetime privilege and honor of an opportunity to change people's lives, not to sell cranberry, but to change people's lives. To be able to go in there as Captain Cran Man every day. Hey, Bob, it's Captain Cran Man on line 1. And of course, Bob's probably laughing in the background, but I put a smile on the person's face who answers the phone. Who's going to listen to, oh, it's Stephen Lukawski calling on line 1, Bob. Right? So I think that when you start having some fun, not take life serious or a career serious, yes, you be respectful, responsible, right?
Goes without saying.
But don't take life so serious that you lose the joy out of your work. Some of the best conversations are, I remember Joe Bradley. I love Joe Bradley, Step Change Innovations. I put my arm around Joe because I remember him when he was a kid coming in the industry trying to sell probiotics, which nobody could spell back then. And I still remember the blue scotch that we had, that my mentor paid for, all right, back then, and we laugh about it to this day, how Gatorden, took probiotics to another level. And so, we're icebreakers, we're trailblazers, right? We're difference makers, we're history makers, we're storytellers, right? And yet, our time is the most valuable gift we have. It's a gift that we don't have once we give it. We can't get it back. So when we're with people, they have to realize we took time of our life to talk to you because you're special. You're important. The world needs you. That's why we're talking to you. And I'm hoping that companies who hire people like this realize that they have talented individuals. They're not numbers. There's no age limit in our industry. Right? Jim Rosa, 75 years of age. God bless you, Jimmy. Talked to him the other day. Still has that burning candle. Right? Steve Minetti. God bless Steve Minetti. 90 some odd years of age. He was a president of SlimFast. He's still going in his car driving around. It might take him a little longer to get there because he's going the wrong way, but he's going. All right? He's getting out of the house. Or his wife kicked him out, one or the other.
Or both.
Yeah. And then, you got people, people play golf, right? Army golf, left, right. Like they're out there doing something with their life, right? And because if they want you to stop, that's it. That's why I don't think you and I will ever retire, because I have no idea what that word means.
Me neither. I can't imagine it.
Now, I looked at your photo of you and the horses and the dogs. Wait, seven dogs?
7 dogs.
And how many horses?
14.
14 horses.
Don't ask.
Hear that, everybody? This guy doesn't horse around. 14 horses
Yeah.
and 7 dogs.
Yeah.
And I bet you they all have names.
Everyone.
During our radio interview, we'll get into that. All right. But I'm just saying, like, that is your probably happy place, isn't it?
It is. It's my grounding place.
Yeah. So I'm telling everybody out there when they listen to us, find your happy place. Find it where you truly can have that peace, that serenity, that sanctuary, that escape that allows you to hit that reset button, to rejuvenate, refresh, right? Because you need it, right? And I truly believe that when you end up looking at life from a different perspective outside of work, and you start looking at family and what's important in life, and I think this comes with maturity,
I think
right?
so.
And that you start seeing things. Well, first of all, time speeds up, right? I've never seen a zip line of life go so fast as you get older,
Whew. I
right?
hear you.
But you start enjoying every moment more when you slow down and see what you have, not what you don't at the end of the day. But if you got family, spend it with them, right? And enjoy it. My family is my work, my nieces, my nephews. Yes, I don't have children, right? And I was blessed in different areas. At least not that I know of. And that's another station. That's another show.
That's
Right.
another show. I love it. You know, it's funny. I was going to ask you for a thought of the day today, but I think you just did it, and I don't think you could do it any better than you just did. And I just want you to know how honored I am to have you here today. You are a delight. You are a guiding light, and I think that your heart is visible for everyone to see. Your heart is as big as big as the wall in back of you. It's wonderful, it's beautiful, it's inspiring, and I hope that everyone out there, no matter what your age, you'll take some of these words of wisdom, and yes, they are wisdom, apply them, think about them, and maybe absorb some of this really good energy, because we're all in the same thing. We're all going to be here and we're all going to be gone.
Yeah.
So you need to take the time to take from this life things that you can take with you, memories and experiences. And if you're doing nothing but working and you don't have joy, you need to sit back
Yeah.
and size things up a little bit.
Yeah. I thank you, Jeffrey. I went to a Vita Food show this year, this year at Barcelona, and then from there, I've never been to my country where my family, my dad's side is, which is Polish. So I've never been to Poland, and I had the opportunity to go to Poland, and I had the privilege, and thank you to Greenbit and Rafael Pietrzinski and his Greenbit team for asking me to come to see their plant and their extraction facility and what they do over there in Poland. But more importantly, he took time, not just to take me to the Ronia fields and the Haskell fields and see the farm to finish operation that they have over there. He sat me down with his mom and dad, all right? And I was touched by that, all right? It's a family business, it's a family business, but mom and dad, it was they don't speak English, and here I am translating through Google, and all I know is my grandma used to hold me in her arms, and she would say, "Dai mi bougie," right? At least that's what my mom would say, which is like, give me a kiss, right? So it's important, for those who have parents, to tell them that you love them. We don't know if they're going to be here today, gone tomorrow. Tell them that you love them. Put any setbacks, grudges, whatever, kicking your ass about not having a great relationship with them. Get over it, right? Tell it gave you life. It's up to you to take it the rest of the way to the finish line. You can't ask for a better gift than that. You don't deserve anything. They gave you life, so take out that silver spoon. Keep telling some young kids out there, they're nice to be here. What are you talking about? They gave you life. They fell in love, got married, and had a baby. You're here because of that. Not because you never asked for them. Not, I don't understand that thinking. That self-entitlement stuff, I just don't get. All right.
Neither of us do.
Go out there, work your ass off like your parents did, right? Make a life out of yourself, right? For yourself, and be somebody out there, because we are all gifted with special talents.
Yep.
Right. And so anyway, that's, I could be negative if I choose to be. I can look at the clouds and never the sun. It's so easy to find negative and, negativity in different things in life, right? It's so easy to say no, but, that's the easy way out. I've never, when I played sports, I got knocked down. I always got back up. I got stronger, so I expect life it's not easy. It's hard. It's challenging. It's never a straight pathway. There's ups and downs and curves and potholes, we'll call them, that we go through. Listen to smart people out there like Jeffrey, who could give you some mentorship, some advice, some guidance. Yes, you'll hit a pothole, right? But listen to his potholes and what he's learned in life. Right? That is an honor and a privilege. And being here and being able to share my a little bit of my journey with you, right? It makes me I would say more emotionally connected to you, Jeffrey, because I see you as outside of work. I see you as a person. And James Gormley, the guys, the young kids that are not with us anymore, who passed away. James, August 24th last year.
Yeah.
Right? God bless you. And we're doing this, for people like yourself, to memorialize you and all the others, so we keep going forward, bringing the stars out, to inspire the younger generations to follow. It's so important.
It is important. It is important. And once again,
so what are all those plaques behind your head? That's what I want to know. Don't tell me they're horse awards.
Just school. I have my naturopath, my master herbalist degree, my other degrees. The stuff that you do along the way, to let you know that you're still on the right path and you're listening.
I love it, as academic scholar.
Well, I loved school, and I was one of the nerds that really enjoyed school. And, I'd get in and they'd say we'd have a day which she said, there's no homework tonight. And I used to get upset with that. So I was kind of the nerd.
Hey, Jeffrey, I got a question for you. What would you tell your younger self at 18 years of age?
When you find your passion, run with it. Because I was kind of like here. And then when I found my passion, I did. And it took me a couple 5 or 6 years later that I wish I would have found my passion. But then again, to your point, I don't think there are coincidences. I don't think there are mistakes. I just think if we're paying attention, the signs are there. And someone will say, well, that's not my door. And I'm like, I don't believe that, because it has a doorknob. It's meant to be open. So I just wish I would have probably listened to myself a little bit and not doubted myself when I was much, much younger, because I did. Yeah. And that's what I would tell myself,
Is your father still around?
No, he passed on very, very young, 51.
Both of our dads are watching us today. And 51 for you, 60 for me. And if somebody asked me, what would you tell your dad today? Right? And I would tell him, he already knows. He sees me every day. He's up there over top of me, watching. He's my guiding light, my inspiration. He always said, son, you deserve a better life than me. And I think that's what parents fought for, back then. My dad got married at the age of 17.
Yeah.
And here he's telling me don't buy a car at 16. And he gets married at 17. What the heck? Right? My mom was 19 at the time. We were married for 40 some odd years. My dad dies. My mother for 30 years hit the stop button. She said, son, the reason why I never met another man again, because your dad drained all my energy. I don't have no more love to give.
Empty. Done.
she goes, all those years when you find your right love, right? People search for that love and they never find it. She had it. All right. So my dad's with me every day. And, and he always said, son, if you really want to hear what I have to say, just pray. All right. Your prayers are being listened to every day. So, that's my guiding light. I can never have a bad day. All right. And when I think of all the sacrifices they've made for my brother, my sister, and I, to put food on the table, clothes on our back, and give us things that, what little they had in terms of financial, that they were able to give us the laughter and the joy, of TV, hockey night in Canada, right back then, and rabbit ears, right? We had no cable.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I think back and I see my dad, you did good. All right. I hope you're proud of how we looked after mom after all these years. All right. Because you're doing a great job, Jeffrey, looking after your mom too.
I'm doing my best. And, because I want to. I mean, you could say we need to, which we do, but I want to. I want to make every bit of her life as good as I can. And we do the same thing every day. That's what we do. Those are the people we are. And, and it's a good thing. And I wish it was something we could put in the water supply for everybody to act that way. But
yeah. We drink the Kool-Aid, right? Of forgiveness, love.
Yeah.
Right. A selfless love.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to love, don't look for something back in return. Do it from your heart. Yeah. And that's what our parents taught us. And I think that when you come from a good value system of morals and ethics, right, and you carry that forward in the business world, right? They always say, good, the good finish last, right? I know, no, I'd rather be kind and good, right, than than greedy and unhappy.
Yeah.
And money is, to me, is always been, it's an instrument. It's my dad always says you can, it's not the bank, it's not the treasures in the bank account that people remember you by, right? So it's the treasures in your heart. And, that you can count on your friends in one hand when you're gone, right? People don't remember how much money you made. They remember what you've done in your life, the good that you brought. Right? Money rents a lot of things because you have to give it back when you're gone.
Yep.
You're borrowing it. It's not yours to keep.
True.
So I'd rather look at what we do every day and say it's been a good day because I had the honor and privilege of being interviewed by Jeffrey Burke.
Well, then I had I had the benefit of having you here, and it's wonderful. And I thank you so much for being here today. This has been amazing. And I hope that everybody that's listening has really enjoyed this wonderful interview with the Captain Cran Man himself, Stephen Lukawski. And I hope that you'll follow this, you'll listen to it. This is one of those podcasts that I want you to share with everybody. Make sure you like it, subscribe, do all that stuff, but just tell people to listen. I want people to listen because I think this is probably the most motivational from my heart and my guest's heart podcast. And considering all my thousands of radio shows that I've done over the years, where it's something that I think if you listen to, you're going to walk away with a little bit more glow in your heart and a little bit more smile on your face. And I think that that's wonderful. Stephen, I can't thank you enough for being here today, sir.
Well, this was an honest and healthy podcast, right? Honest because it came from the heart, right? Healthy because I believe in the body, soul, and mind, right? That there has to be a balance. And yet I also believe that laughter is your best medicine. Right? The Captain Cran Man goes out there to try to make a difference in the world. Yes, I'm trying to save the world one UTI at a time. Yes, it's up, up, and away. Not enough telephone booths, but thank God for cranberry juice.
Thank goodness.
Right? But I'm lucky. It's I have no grandparents. I have no grandchildren. Right? But I do have a fantastic family. Right? So, and I thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Everyone, be well today. Do something great just for you. And stand back when you get a minute and take a look at everything around you. You're going to be pleasantly surprised at the amazing things right under your nose. Have a great day. God bless.
Take care. Have a amazing rest of the week.
We love it.
Stay tuned for more information from the Honest Health Podcast with Jeffrey Burke. And make sure to check back often for interviews and conversations from the guests we all want to hear from. I'm John the Announcer. Thanks for listening.